top motivations for women: relationship dissatisfaction, number one, and a high number one. Again, most women mention that. Second place, and second place by quite a bit, only 20%. That's still a high 22%. Mentioned that their primary partner was uninvested, and this also illustrates an important point, which is that not all women's affairs are explained by dual mating. It seems that there might be a psychological bias towards the dual mating strategy, but many women had affairs with affair partners who they perceived as less attractive, right? 77% more likely is not, that's not an infinite gap. And then if they're one of the reasons that many women cheated, 1 in 5 women cheated precisely because they thought that their primary partner wasn't invested enough. So if it's pairing good genes and good investment, that doesn't make a lot of sense for those women. And then the third most popular motivation for women was revenge. So 15.5% of women said that they were cheating to get revenge. And
did they say what on?
Well, in this case, the 15.5% figure is revenge for their partner's affair specifically. So I remember I spoke to a guy who was kind of an unofficial marriage counselor in his neighborhood, and I asked him, why do women cheat in your experience? Like, what do you see? And he very flatly said, women cheat when men cheat. Now, that doesn't seem to be 100% true, but there's certainly some truth to it in our data, in the sense that women were much more likely to cheat for revenge. And you could interpret that as a genuine strategic difference. But since men cheat more than women have more opportunity to cheat for revenge. Or at the very least, they have more opportunity. At the very least, they have more opportunity to cite revenge as one of the reasons why they cheated.
Whether it was going to happen or not.
Yes.
What is the state of who cheats more, men or women?
Oh, that's a pretty open and shut case. Men cheat more. Men say they cheat more when you ask them. Men say they get cheated on less when you ask them. So women report getting cheated on more. And then women who are the third person, right? So some people might say, oh, well, maybe women are just understating things. When you ask, who's more successful as a mate poacher, women who mate poach tend to have a higher hit rate. So there are 3 people involved in any given affair. There's the primary partner, there's the person who's cheating, and then there's the affair partner. And you can do studies on any one of those 3 groups, and you generally find the same result, which is that the man is generally more likely to have an affair. In some studies, it's not a big gap. In some cultural contexts, it's a huge gap. But that would be the overall state of the science there. And so the revenge difference, it may just be downstream of the sex difference in committing infidelity. They have more opportunity to have an affair.
What do you learn from a woman's concern about investment from their partner?
It's a good question. So this is pretty consistent with, it's not consistent with the dual mating strategy, but it's consistent, and it's actually a really good thing to illustrate that women cheat for many reasons. They cheat maybe for traditional variety-based motivations, such as genetic heterogeneity, or fertility backup. So some percent of couples are infertile, and so if you're mating with multiple males, you're really lowering the probability that that's going to result in the end of your lineage. There are many motivations for affairs. Revenge. Being an uninvested partner, low investment. I would say that it signals kind of the traditional ev-psych difference, which is that women's investment in offspring is largely obligate, physically obligate, in the sense that women have to go through pregnancy and lactation. This is part of why women seem to be more careful about who they mate with, more choosy. A lot of men complain about, women having high standards for their mates, but really, what do you expect, right? Like, if you could get pregnant, surely you'd be pretty careful as well about who you mate with. And so women's investment is partially obligate, whereas men's investment is not morally, but pragmatically entirely optional. Men have the option to seduce and abandon mates. And so you'd expect, given that women would be very sensitive to cues that a man might seduce and abandon her and really try to avoid that as much as possible. And so if they're in a relationship and they think, oh, my partner's not investing in me, he's not invested, well, that's a huge signal that he's a low mate value mate, essentially. It's like, oh, this isn't going to work. And maybe that's evidence for mate switching, but maybe it's also evidence for breakup or backup or just lowering the cost of infidelity. Again, the discount infidelity idea.
I was going to say, this doesn't mean that no woman ever leaves her partner to get into a relationship with the cheating partner. Yeah, reliably, that does happen. And also, I'm going to guess that if you looked at the cohorts of women and you were to find the one that said, I was worried about investment from my relationship partner, that would probably result in more likely of a pivot to the new infidelity partner as a new relationship. I'm going to guess that would probably be predictive of that, because like, what am I sticking about for? If I'm going to have genes and investment and I don't have investment, then I might as well try and get genes and investment together.
Yes, exactly. So the dual mating, it doesn't explain all of women's infidelity, certainly. And we did see some mate switching in our samples. Several women in our sample were mate switching.
This episode is brought to you by Element. Stop having coffee first thing in the morning. Your adenosine system that caffeine acts on isn't even active for the first 90 minutes of the day, but your adrenal system is, and salt acts on your adrenal system. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium with no sugar, no gluten, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or any other BS. It plays a critical role in reducing muscle cramps and fatigue while optimizing brain health, regulating appetite, and curbing cravings. The orange flavor in a cold glass of water is literally the best way to start your morning. I've done it every single day for over 3 years now, way before they were a partner on the show, and I love it. Best of all, there is a no BS, no questions asked refund policy, so you can buy absolutely risk-free, and if you do not like it for any reason, they will give you your money back, and you don't even need to return the box. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, you will love the full-length podcast in all its glory, which is available right here. Go on. Press it.